What if I told you that the key to happiness and resilience has been sitting in plain sight for over 2 millennia? The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, weren't just philosophers. They were people like you and me, grappling with uncertainty, hardship, and ambition. They didn't just theorize about life. They lived through its chaos and emerged with wisdom that is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Let's take a journey into their world, not to admire them as historical figures, but to understand how their teachings can help us navigate ours. The foundation of Stoicism. Imagine a life where no external event could disturb your peace. A life where criticism, failure, and even loss couldn't shake your core. That's the life the Stoics sought to cultivate. At its heart, Stoicism is about two things: controlling what you can and accepting what you can't. Epictetus, a slave-turned-philosopher, said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not." Think about that. How much of our daily stress comes from worrying about things that are completely out of our hands? The weather, the economy, what someone said about us. The Stoics remind us, these are external. They don't define us unless we let them. What does define us? Our choices, our thoughts, our actions. These are within our control, and this is where our power lies. Control what you can. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're at work, and your boss criticizes you in front of your colleagues. It's embarrassing, maybe even unfair. But what happens next? You have a choice. You can let anger take over, replay the event in your mind, stew over it, lash out. Or you can pause. Ask yourself, what's within my control here? You can't control your boss's words, but you can control your response. You can choose to handle the situation calmly, to learn from the criticism if it's valid or let it go if it isn't. This is Stoicism in action. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about managing them. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. And this principle, as simple as it sounds, can transform your life. The power of perspective. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor burdened with ruling a vast and often chaotic empire, knew a thing or two about stress. Yet he wrote in his Meditations, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This idea is revolutionary. It tells us that happiness isn't something we find out there. It's something we create in here, in our minds. Consider this. Two people experience the same setback. One sees it as a failure and gives up. The other sees it as a lesson and tries again. The event was the same, but their perspectives shaped two completely different outcomes. Let's take a modern example. You're stuck in traffic. You're late for an important meeting. What's your first instinct? Frustration, anxiety, maybe even anger. These emotions don't change the situation, they just make it harder to bear. But what if you shifted your perspective? What if you saw this as an opportunity to listen to an audiobook or reflect on your day? Suddenly, the same situation feels completely different. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that we can't always control our circumstances, but we can always control our perspective, and that's where true freedom lies. Memento Mori, remembering life's fragility. Now let's talk about a concept that might make you uncomfortable. Memento Mori, remember that you will die. At first glance, this might sound dark, but it's one of the most liberating ideas in Stoicism. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life." Why? Because when you remember that life is finite, you stop wasting time. Think about how often we procrastinate, telling ourselves, "I'll do it tomorrow." But what if tomorrow never comes? What if the time you're waiting for is already slipping away? Memento Mori isn't about fear, it's about clarity. It's about living fully, cherishing the present, and focusing on what truly matters. Spend time with loved ones. Pursue the dreams you've been putting off. And most importantly, let go of the trivial things that don't deserve your energy. Here's a practice. Every morning remind yourself, today is a gift. How will I make the most of it? It's a simple thought, but it can change everything. Living virtuously. The Stoics believed that true wealth isn't found in money, status, or possessions. It's found in virtue. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In today's world, we're constantly told that more is better. More money, more followers, more success. But the Stoics teach us that what truly matters is character. Are you honest? Are you kind? Do you act with courage and integrity, even when it's difficult? Here's a question to reflect on. If everything you own disappeared tomorrow, what would be left? The Stoics would argue that if you've lived with virtue, you'll still have the most important thing, yourself. Practical Stoicism for everyday life. So how do we apply all of this in our daily lives? Here are some simple practices inspired by Stoicism. 1. Journaling. Every evening, write down what challenged you that day and how you responded. Were your actions aligned with your values? What could you do better tomorrow? 2. Negative visualization. Imagine losing something you take for granted, a relationship, your health, even your job. This isn't about dwelling on fear, it's about gratitude. When you imagine life without these things, you appreciate them more. 3. Pause and reflect. When faced with a challenge, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what's within my control here? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? 4. Focus on the present. The Stoics remind us that the past is gone and the future is uncertain. The only time we truly have is now. Make it count. The legacy of Stoicism. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of life. It's a reminder that no matter what life throws at us, we have the power to respond with strength, wisdom, and grace. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca didn't live perfect lives. They faced struggles, failures, and heartbreak. But through it all, they found a way to rise above. And so can you. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality. Your actions define your character. And your life is too precious to be wasted on things that don't matter. So I'll leave you with this. What kind of life do you want to live? One dictated by fear, doubt, and external circumstances? Or one of purpose, resilience, and inner peace? The choice is yours.